and voila, which is French for, and then I found out. Welcome to Corporals Corner. Today I want to make a lazy man's bow drill set using a piece of seep willow and cottonwood, so stick around. Now, the reality of survival. In my previous video I got a question about that, and I said there's many avenues of reality of survival. So today we can talk about reality of survival doing a lazy man's bow drill set. And I'm calling it lazy man's bow drill set. That's probably not the actual name. It's just I was taught a certain way to do something, and I seek perfection in what I do. And the reason why is because if it fails, I know I didn't rely on some quick tip or trick. And a lot of times people are put off by that because they just want to fast forward the video, they want to get to it, or even students or people who are trying to show how to do this, they want to just get it done. But the reality of it is, if you're defaulting to a bow drill set and you're taking shortcuts in the beginning and it doesn't work, the only one you can blame is yourself. Now, I've talked several times about having a Bic lighter, and we find mine right now. In my honest opinion, if survival were real and you're not doing this first time, every time, you've already messed up. And I always give that Back to the Future analogy of somewhere in the past, the space-time continuum skews off, creating an alternate reality in which you're screwed. And that's the truth. So now that I got the years of experience, I look at it as, it's not a novelty, it's very good to know. For that when something happens, not if. But what I've noticed is far too many people and groups get caught up in museum quality replicas, and it looks beautiful. It's perfect 2x4 for your fireboard, everything's working, boom, 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 and they carry seasoned pieces of wood with them in the field and rely on that every time. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just noticing a lot of things going around the web right now, people making bow drill sets that are like takedown, like they're making a recurve bow that takes down. Well, I can swap out hardwood and softwoods. Well, you can do all that, but is that the reality of survival? Are you going to carry something out in the field that's this long that takes down and something like this that you pack away, and you got to purposely find hardwood, softwood? It's a great challenge, don't get me wrong, and I give anyone credit who wants to do that the first time every time. But for me, I always want to practice primitive skills so I can become better. Practice makes better, not perfect. So today, let's dive into the lazy man's bow drill set. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going to carve everything perfectly. I'm going to take shortcuts on purpose. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I've done this several times now, and I know what works in certain areas, and I know what doesn't. So I can afford to take those shortcuts in the event that I will need that now. Again, I'm defaulting to this. But let's say it was taken away, it broke, I didn't have it. And in the very, very worst alternate universe, I had to make a bow drill. Do I want to sit there for 35 to 45 minutes carving a set out perfectly? If I don't want things to go wrong, maybe. But if I had to have a fire now, probably not. And that's what this practice will make you better. Let's go ahead and kick this off, go out and find some cottonwood and some seep willow or mule fat, and get her done. And here's a piece of the infamous seep willow or mule fat. If you notice, there's a slight bend to it right here. So all we're going to do is look at something the size of your thumb, or the diameter of your thumb. And I want the length to be from pinky to thumb in length. So we're going to look down here and find the straightest piece, probably from here to about here, cut that off at that length, and that'd be my spindle. So here's that piece of cottonwood from that tree we were looking at. It's about 1.5 inches diameter, about 18 inches in length. This right here is perfect. If you look at the center, there's no heartwood. It's all white, it's dried out. It was actually on the tree and it was dead. Just cut it off and I'm good to go. Okay, so now we have our seep willow or mule fat that we're going to use for our spindle. Like I mentioned before, we got the proper length, diameter of my thumb. It's good to go. All we have to do is crown the ends off or round them off, taper one side, done deal. A bow can be a straight stick, curved stick, Y branch at the end, or straight, drive a hole through it. Dealer's choice. I want this thing to be at a minimum the diameter of my thumb, no larger than 1 inch diameter, and no longer than the length of my fingertips to my armpit. The next two parts is our handhold or socket, followed by our fireboard. Now this is where the lazy man part comes into play. Instead of batoning this in half, and then again, and carving it down to resemble a 2x4, all I'm going to do is baton it in half, go about 5 inches over, do a stop cut with my saw, baton that piece off. And that will give me roughly 3 locations that I can make bow drill fires. I want to take a minute to explain all this, and then I'm going to try to do it in real time. See how long it actually takes. Before I cut my handhold, all I did was take my hand, place it over top, measure the length, and cut it off. We'll deal with this in a minute. Next, like I mentioned, we're going to initially baton it in half. Nice. Now from here, measure over about 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches. Make a slight stop cut. Baton it down and remove that piece. Clean the sides up. It's good to go. And last, our handhold. All I'm going to do here is carve a flat spot on the bottom. Make a slight hole for our spindle. Round off one end of our spindle. Taper the opposite end. Good to go. Okay, so here we have our spindle or drill. We have our improvised Lazy Man's fireboard, our handhold or bearing block, along with our bow. And in all reality, it took longer for me to explain everything than actually do it. So this is good to go. Now the last step we got to do, go ahead and seat our drill, meaning burn an indentation into our improvised fireboard that's the same diameter of our spindle, carve our pine notch. It's a done deal. So all I've done is grab a piece of cottonwood bark for an ember catch, and place that underneath my notch. All the powder will collect inside there, reach about 800 degrees, and then hopefully ignite. Utilize the full length of that bow, like you're playing that violin. Rotate the board, cap the ember free. And voila, which is French for, and then I found out. Welcome back. Friction fire is outstanding. Now, let's talk about a couple things real quick. I called this the Lazy Man's bow drill set. And truth be told, a lot of people actually do this. I messed around with it and I found that not only does it save time, it actually saves the blade of your knife, as well as, if you think about it, this is rounded. Now a lot of people like doing the bow drill barefooted. And for me, it actually fits right up in that arch of my foot and gives me more control. And the board doesn't want to move around on me. Now as far as boots, I use boots today, my Irish setters. Had no problem with the board moving or wobbling around. Saved me time, saved my knife, it was a lot more comfortable. Now if you haven't already, go back and check out my cottonwood bow drill, my simple bow drill, even my tooth popper bow drill for a comprehensive, in-depth view of how to carve one of these sets the proper way. Learn it right the first time, the correct way. Once you're comfortable, apply those tips and tricks. Now do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and as always, thank you for your comments, views, and support. Thanks for watching. Get out in the field, have some fun. I'm going to catch you next time.